And here we are live. Thank you for joining me today. Day 4. It's the 5th workshop, but we didn't really get anything done last Friday, right? We did things, but we prepared for this series, and this is our 4th co-working time, and I've been hearing great feedback. I have loved seeing some of the before and after pictures that some of you have sent in. That's been so much fun. And I am excited for today's because I think it's one of those areas that we don't really think about very often. You might not even recognize it as a spot in your home that needs attention. But when we think of it as an important place in our home that we should be paying attention to and addressing regularly, it actually really increases the functionality of our homes and our routines. And that is your entrance hotspot. So wherever you come in your house or wherever your kids come in the house, that might be your front door, it might be a garage door, it might be a back door. But think about, actually, you should be going to the spot where your family mostly comes in and out of the house from, and then look around. There is probably a spot there where people just set things down automatically without even thinking about it. You come in and your arms are full, or you're holding things. You bring in the mail. Like, where do things land as people enter the house? And that is your entrance hotspot. And, maybe there's some chaos around, or things are on the floor because there isn't a spot. If there is no horizontal space, and maybe that, I think I've seen that recommended as a strategy, like, because people put things on the horizontal space when they come in, just get rid of that horizontal space. The reality is the stuff is still coming in and it's still going somewhere. So you just moved the location of the clutter. And having a catch-all spot is actually very handy. And it means that you have a place to go to. Like, oh, we brought that in. We probably just set it down there. There it is. Or you're coming in, you're juggling things, and, where are they going to go? There's a place to set them down. It's very handy. So it's good to have a strategically placed horizontal surface near an entrance, near the place where your family comes and goes most often. It's just a spot that you're going to have to pay attention to, maybe daily, maybe a couple times a week. It depends on how many people are coming in and out and the frequency of the coming in and out. But that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get that spot ready. So either find the place, your hotspot place where people just set things, the one closest to your entry, or maybe you need to use this time to create an entrance landing spot for things. So let's get started. Okay. So we have our timer. Do you have your spot? Here's our weekly plan. We're on day 4. Tomorrow, we're going to be cleaning the bathrooms. So that'll be exciting. Today, before we get started, you need to make sure you have some kind of rags or dusters, whatever you use to dust. You want to wipe down your surface, and a container for the random stuff collecting. So your clutter collector and a timer, but I can act as your timer today. So start by taking your before photos. Pick your spot, give your attention to that spot, and take your before picture. Then start your timer. So since you know the drill, I'm just gonna start. And of course, you start by throwing away any garbage there. You find the things that are easy to deal with first, and probably that's garbage. So here is my before photo. Surprisingly, there wasn't really any garbage per se laying down just on there. That usually there is junk mail here, but we had people over last night. So this is actually not too bad. Although I guess we did leave things out there. I assigned a kid to clean it. So the garbage got put away anyway. So this is a little chest that's right by our front door. So it's where mail coming to and from lands, usually in this little collector thing here. And things just get set down here. Maybe as people are going to the hallway. It's just a very convenient spot, which is good to have. It's just good to come to it and take care of things every once in a while and make sure that the right things have homes. So we are going to throw away any garbage that's in that spot and put away things that are quick and easy to tidy. So if we go back to my example, I was like, the stapler has a home that is about 3 yards away. It's like 10 steps. So I put the stapler away. The little hair clip is mine. It goes in my room. The light bulbs have a home, and it's not right here. I don't know why they landed here. This battery charger should actually be in the laundry room. So, just quick grab things, just random books that have been set here because people were looking at them and just set them down, but they're actually not people's currently reading books. So those went onto the bookshelf. It was a quick and easy job. You just pick up maybe one thing at a time. Maybe there are a few things where it's like, okay, these 3 things all need to go to the kitchen. These 3 things all need to go to my bedroom. You just pick up the things that are quick and easy to put away. And then as you put things away and throw garbage away, you'll probably uncover some things there on that surface where you are not sure where they belong. Maybe they landed there because they have no home. No one claims them. No one seems to want them. They don't want them enough to give them a home or to claim them when it comes time to when you say pick up your own things. There's always that leftover stash that no one wants to claim as their own. Those just go in your container for now. So one thing that I decided to do, there was this catch-all container with bits and pieces. I'm like, oh, there's no garbage. And I'm like, oh, you know where the garbage is. You know where stuff that doesn't actually belong here is. It's in this little wood mail sorter thing. So I took it over to the table and just dumped it out. We're going to start from scratch. I wiped it down. I'm like, okay, we are starting from scratch. And only things that I want here in this space are going to go back in here. I got the girls a few seeds just to randomly put out for fun. I have no hopes of actual gardening, but, a couple packets of seeds we can try out. But they'd planted a few, so I dumped these out and I said, okay, these are just for this season. We're not starting any kind of gardening seed collection at this point in our life, in our home plan. As we're renting right now, and we will be building, and who knows what that's going to look like. So we aren't saving seeds right now. It's just not the time of life for that. So I said, okay, you can find a place to plant these or give them to the neighbor. We need to use these or give them away or throw them away today. So anyway, that was that was a good little sorting thing. This was actually a lot more junk to sort through, and it happens less often because usually if I assign a kid to clear this spot and tidy it up, they just put things that they don't know what to do with in this little sorter and it kind of disappears them. So that was a good thing to dump out and take care of, and then just put things back that actually belong there. So then after you've put away the easy things and thrown away the garbage and collected in the container the things that don't have homes and the things you're going to have to think about later or do something with later, then what's left? And you just kind of repeat the process. Is there something I can throw away here? I don't know. How do you guys feel? Personally, I love throwing things away. I get a lot of satisfaction with throwing away garbage, which is why I always start there. Kind of my decluttering question is always, can I throw this away? Is it okay for me to throw this away? And if I can, I do. I get immense happiness and satisfaction from throwing garbage into the garbage can. It's a cheap happy, right? It helps my home lose weight. So even if I can't, my home can. So then as you take care of the stuff, or the stuff that's in the containers that are on the containers, and then only putting back the things that do actually belong there. So you have things that belong here. On this entry space is not supposed to be totally empty. It actually is the home for a few things. It's the home for this mail sorter for incoming mail and outgoing mail, to just holding for people. Because if it sits on the dining room table, I might accidentally throw it away. Yes, Missy said in the chat, says, whenever the kids ask what to do with something, I just answer, throw it away. Those go-to answers, it really does help. But our Bibles, our hymnals, these belong here. And actually the sunglasses belong here also, but they belong in this little mail sorter so that, packages and books don't get set down right on top of them where they break. So as you get that space clear, then you want to clean it, which is best done by actually removing everything from it. So even the things that belong, move them to a different horizontal surface, which might include the floor. The floor is a horizontal surface. Take everything off the surface and then wipe it down. I was really surprised at the accumulation of dust on our shelf here. You can see there's kind of a ledge and over here. And so I wiped down even the vertical space, because the vertical space had collected some dust as well. And this is a lovely wood chest my parents gave me when I turned 18. And it really could use some furniture polish, but that's a bit beyond today's scope. I just kind of made a mental note and actually used up all our furniture polish and didn't move any here. So I currently don't have any, so I couldn't do it if I wanted to, but this chest really could use a nice wood polish and it would spiffy back up a bit. But for now, I just wiped it down, paid attention to the creases and the crevices around, because it's by the front door, it does collect dust a bit more than other spots. So after completely taking everything off the surface and wiping it down all over, then return the things that actually belong there, putting them there neatly. So that's mine. There's a big change. The biggest change is actually in that little mail sorter container. So it went from that to that. Before, after. And aren't those before and after photos fun? Because if you just look at that, you're like, well, it's not that much different. I didn't really do that much. This actually took me like 5 minutes tops. And But then when you actually look at the before and then the after photo, it's like, oh, no, that is nice. That does make a difference. So the sunglasses went in here, just the stamps, and there was no outgoing or ingoing mail in there. There was something that needed to be filed. So I set it in the inbox in our bedroom where papers to keep belong. So there you have 9.5 minutes left on the timer, but how are you doing on your entrance hotspot? Because if it takes you less time than 20 minutes, 20 minutes is kind of long for just one little surface when we're trying to move quickly and just get the space functional again. Take your before and after photo. Don't forget that after photo. But maybe you want to spend the remainder of that time sorting through that container of stuff that you've collected this week, where your job isn't to completely empty it in the remaining 9 minutes, but simply do what you can in 9 minutes. Take care of as many things as you can in 9 minutes. Making decisions is a taxing sort of a thing. So it's best to do it in small chunks and just start with what's easy. Start with what you say, oh, you know what? I can take care of this. I know where this should go. Or maybe just look through there and let your mind ruminate on it for a while. Or maybe you want to pick another horizontal hotspot in your house to take care of for 8 minutes or so. But as you do clean, I think that we should all build this step in as a habit, whatever chore we're working on. And that is to step back and admire the clear, orderly space, even if it's not perfect, especially if it's not perfect, if it's just better. But you did something, notice that you did it. Take a deep breath and enjoy its current state. We are problem solvers, our home's problem solvers. And that means that we're kind of accustomed to finding problems. And we want to stop the habit of being critics all the time. Like they're being able to notice and identify and solve problems is really good, but we need to be sure to not let that be the only mode we operate in. It can become just the default mode, which then actually becomes being critical all the time, like just noticing what's wrong all the time, assuming we should be solving all the problems that we notice. And we notice a lot. So then we just become habitually dissatisfied and unhappy because we are always focusing in on the things that need fixing, the things that we would like to be different. So we need to also have the ability and the pattern of noticing when we fix something, when we return something to the state that it's supposed to be, when something is improved. Because it's so easy to just start thinking, well, I didn't do anything today. Just take 2 seconds at the end of whatever project you're working on and look at that, even if it's just a little small entryway horizontal space, and say, hey, I did that. Oh, that's much nicer. Like we're not like exaggerating and making it a big deal. We're just pushing pause on critical mode and saying, there we go. And then moving on. Missy asks how I read her mind so often. It's because great minds think alike, or at least mom minds think alike. I don't know. This is just the way we operate so readily. We just fall into these ruts of identifying all the problems as if we could solve them all. And then not ever paying attention to the work that we do, which devalues the work that we are doing. And we don't want to do that. So, what spaces have you been cleaning? How's that going? Are you working on your decluttering container? We've got 4.5 more minutes. And, if you have the checklist that goes with this series, you will see that at this point, day 4, there is also a checklist for building a declutter maintenance kind of habit here. And, we don't need to be spending 20 minutes in every single spot of our house every day, right? We're not going to be spending hours and hours cleaning the whole house every single day. But if we spend a little bit of extra time in a few key strategic locations, which is what we're doing here in these 20-minute sessions, then if most days we spend 1 or 2 minutes just giving it a little attention, bringing it back to its decluttered or clean state, that is building the maintenance habit, the tending habit, the keeping habit that will help us not slip into chaos around the house so quickly. Because the chaos does come quickly sometimes. The slide is sometimes a super fast slide. But if we build in the habit of just putting 1 or 2 minutes of time and attention in the key spots that help our home stay functional, then even as things happen around us and the state of the house maybe does get a little bit crazy, we still have those horizontal spaces that are available, the sink that's available. And we also build up that habit, a habitual frame of mind that recognizes that the whole point of doing the cleaning is not to have it stay as the end result that we wanted. The point of cleaning the sink is not to have a shiny sink. The shiny sink isn't the point. The sink has a job, and its job is to hold dirty dishes and then be the place where the dishes are cleaned. When we're cleaning the sink, we're just keeping it ready for use, just like you sharpen a saw. Because when you use a saw or a knife, it gets dull over time, and then it does its job less well. And it's the same, if you use a sink, you put dirty dishes in it, you're splashing, things are happening, the sink becomes dirty, and then it doesn't do its job cleaning dishes as well. So it's like sharpening a knife or a saw. We're just taking care of our tools and helping them be the kind of places where we can do our home management responsibilities and feeding people, clothing people, parenting people, loving people, serving people. That's what we're doing with our homes. And so cleaning them is not because the home itself is a thing that needs to be served, but because the home is a tool to where we serve people with that tool. And so cleaning it is just like sharpening the knife so that it can be used to do the job it's supposed to be used for. And there's our timer. All right. So Judy says hers is going to take longer, but pause and see still, even though it's going to take longer, even if you might not be done, still just pause and notice how much did happen in that time frame. And give yourself permission to be done for today if there's other stuff. We don't have to think of jobs as only something that we have to keep doing until they are done, because sometimes we just don't have that amount of time. Sometimes we just need to give an area the amount of time that we have, which might be 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then move on. And then come back around the next day or the next week and give it another 10 or 15 minutes. And that really is a great way to still make progress and declutter, as just by 5, 10, 15 minutes a day. That does add up and it's sustainable. Whereas dedicating whole days or just thinking, I'm going to do this until it's entirely done. And, who says when it's entirely done? It can actually be a really hard judgment call to make. And then we end up thinking that we failed, or, just kind of discounting what we did, devaluing what we did do, rather than noticing the progress that we made in that amount of time, that we used that time and we got something done, even if it wasn't all of it. But that all or nothing temptation is just so strong. And when we don't get it all done, we say it's nothing. It doesn't count. I didn't finish. Doesn't matter. Wasted that time. Should have been able to do more. We just talk to ourselves that way. We evaluate our own work that way. When we need to say, well, that was the amount of time I had there. Glad I got that done. Now it's time to go do something else. And that's totally fine. All right. So I look forward to our last day tomorrow, and we're going to clean those bathroom counters. This one is going to be a really more difficult one because there's a lot of variation with all of our different situations, right? Right now we have 2 bathrooms. Our previous house had 4 bathrooms. The amount of counter in a bathroom varies greatly. One of ours at the previous house was just a pedestal, so cleaning that counter was super easy. This one here has quite a bit of counter, so it's a bigger job. So we're still going to spend only 20 minutes, and you will have to look at your own bathroom counter situation and say, okay, am I going to spend this 20 minutes in one bathroom? Or am I just going, or, maybe I have 4 bedrooms, so I'm going to spend 5 minutes in each one. There are a few different ways that you can break that up, but just making some fast, focused decisions and clutter clearing and wiping out, scraping out toothpaste. It just needs to be done pretty regularly, and it builds up really quickly. So we're going to tackle that, give those bathroom counters some attention, and we'll keep this up for sure. So I would love to know if there are other areas that you would like to cover some other time, or if you have workshop ideas, topic ideas that you would like to see addressed here in this kind of either a workshop or co-working, things that we can do to encourage one another to keep up the good work and fight the good fight against clutter and dirt in our homes, so that we can use those homes to serve and love people. And I will see you tomorrow.